video, we'll be talking about the top 10 catchers coming into 2023. Now, this is going to be kind of going off what they did in 2022 and a bit of a personal opinion on where I think these guys are going to rank. Let's get right into it. At number 10 is Christian Vázquez, as he had a phenomenal season last year as a catcher, batting .274, which is great because catchers don't usually bat very well. On top of that, he had 9 home runs, and he was a solid defender as he had about 8 errors as a catcher and had a 60% catch-steal rate, which is pretty solid. It's a little bit low, to be completely honest, but it isn't completely awful. And having an offensive side as a catcher is huge because there just isn't enough catchers in the modern-day era that has fantastic offensive upside and decent enough defense. At number 9 is Jose Trevino's. He had a phenomenal season last year, batting .248 with 11 home runs, 43 RBIs, and an OPS plus of 90, which is just slightly below average. But as a catcher, that's not terrible because they aren't made to hit baseballs that often. He was also an all-star last year and a Gold Glover, and if he can continue that and take maybe a slightly step forward offensively, he can fly up this list by the end of the season. At number 8 is Alexandria Kirk. He had a phenomenal season last season, batting .285, 14 home runs, 63 RBIs, with an OPS plus of 126, which is absolutely amazing for a catcher. He also won a Silver Slugger and was an all-star last season and could just continue taking steps forward this year. Again, just an absolutely phenomenal year last year, and I expect him to continue to build on that season. He also led the league in most double plays turned as a catcher with 7, which is pretty damn good. I think he will become one of the best, maybe top 5 by the end of the season if he can build on what he did this year. At number 7 is Sean Murphy. He is one of the best hitting catchers, batting .250 with 18 home runs and 66 RBIs with an OPS plus of 120. Now, a big gripe on him is he's honestly not the best fielding, although he does have a Gold Glove, and he was part of the MVP race, finishing 22nd last season, despite the fact he played on the Oakland A's, which is absolutely amazing. I think if Sean Murphy can put all of it together playing on a good team, as in the Braves is coming up season, he could climb up this list even farther. Right now, he sits at 7 after making the league-leading amount of errors for a catcher with 8 last season, but I think Sean Murphy deserves to be on this list. It could even end up higher later in the season. At number 6 is Salvador Perez. He is by far probably the best hitting catcher in baseball. He's the greatest fielding catcher, but he does have 5 Gold Gloves in his career, 7 All-Stars, a World Series MVP and a championship, obviously, a 4-time Silver Slugger. He's received MVP votes. Last season, he batted .254 with 23 home runs and 76 RBIs with an OPS plus of 110, which is pretty damn good, given the fact that, honestly, I didn't think he was that great of a catcher until I started looking into his stats coming into the season. He had a 34% catch-steal rate, which so far has been the highest, I believe, out of the guys we have talked about. He also only committed 3 errors. Now, he only did start in 74 of those games as a catcher. He played 40 games as a DH, which, as you can tell, he is mostly known for his bat. But Salvador Perez definitely deserves to be on this list. He could even be higher with how amazing offensively he can be, coming off of a season just 1 year ago, or just 2 years, I guess, at this point. He had 48 home runs and 121 RBIs. Salvador Perez is one of the best catchers in the league just for his bat. At number 5 is Willson Contreras. He is clearly one of the best hitting catchers in baseball. He does need to clean up his defensive side, which is why he falls in at 5. I think he could realistically climb this leaderboard. He could be number 1 by the end of the year if he can get just slightly better at defending. He made 8 errors last year, didn't have a great catch percentage, but you can kind of pass on that when he's batting .278 with 20 home runs, 45 RBIs, and an OPS plus of 138, which is pretty damn good. You want him in that lineup every single day. He does play a lot of DH, which is not ideal, but he was an all-star last season, and I think if he can clean up his defensive errors a little bit, he could become the best catcher in baseball after this season. At number 4 is Willson Contreras. The dude hits balls far. He had 22 home runs, batting 43 with 55 RBIs and an OPS plus of 128 and a WAR of 3.9, which is pretty damn good. He also has 3 All-Star appearances and a World Series championship. His defensive stats I thought were a little bit better. He was an All-Star last season as well. He only committed 4 errors and he had a catch rate of 31%, although he's never won a Gold Glove, which actually kind of shocked me when I looked into it a little bit more. But Wilson Contreras is clearly one of the best catchers in baseball, and I don't think you can make the argument that he's not. At number 3 is Will Smith. He had a phenomenal season last year with a 4.1 WAR, batting .260 with 24 home runs, 87 RBIs, and an OPS plus of 120, which is pretty damn good. He also has a World Series under his belt with the Dodgers back in 2020, and he's not a slouch at defending. He actually played 109 games as a catcher last year, which is pretty damn good, given a lot of these guys on this list didn't even play 100 games. He also only made 3 errors in those games. Now, his catch rate or catch percentage on stolen bases is kind of low at 18%. But I can't help but say he is probably one of the best catchers in the league. And he is an amazing young talent that's coming up and will possibly be one of the best catchers in the league for years to come. Will Smith is here to stay. And at number 2 is Adley Rutschman. Now, this might be a little bit biased as I am an Orioles fan, and I love this man. But in his rookie season, he had a WAR of 5.2, which is pretty damn good. 13 home runs, a batting average of .254, 70 RBIs, 70 runs scored, which is pretty damn good with an OPS plus of 128. This man also received MVP votes in his rookie year, finishing 12th in the MVP race and 2nd in the Rookie of the Year race. So didn't quite get any awards yet in his career, but man, did he come up and make a splash with the Orioles. And I expect him to continue taking a step forward, and I expect him to be in the MVP race this season. And by the end of the year, I expect him to be the best catcher in baseball. And at number 1 is JT Realmuto, who is clearly the best catcher in baseball, as he averaged a .276 batting average with 22 home runs, 84 RBIs, an OPS plus of 129, and a WAR of 6.5, which is absolutely amazing. He won a Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, and he's a 3-time All-Star. He also had the highest catch-stealer percent of 44%, which is absolutely crazy. JT Realmuto is clearly the best catcher in baseball right now, although Adley Rutschman and Will Smith are hot on his case, and Adley, I believe, will pass him by the end of the year. But I do believe at the current moment, there is no argument that Realmuto is the best catcher in baseball. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.